everybody. It's Justin Case of Americans Talkin. Boy, I came up with that name and I'm having trouble saying it. And I don't want people to think it's Americans Stalkin.
No, it's Meatball's talking, man. You got to change that narrative on that. Go ahead, finish your plug.
Joining our friend and media personality, Jerry Maldonado, back for another installment of Meatball Perspectives. Hello, Jerry. Welcome back to Americans Talkin.
Exactly. I am happily enjoying you now with my new apparatus, so I can actually hear you now, Meatball. I'm kind of glad about that. But yeah, all is good. I love the new channel. I'm glad that people now can visit different areas of America's Newscape with all different sites that you have and areas that people can go in with all different perspectives. Indeed, we have our own, per se, Meatball perspective on here because we have fun with history, which is, wait, is that our topic tonight?
History? Well, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember. History
I
matters, doesn't it, Jerry? Tell me history matters.
History is everything. I mean, believe it, I had a couple, 3 days off last week. I didn't want to tell anybody because they would probably start calling me. But I had a couple, 3 days off last week. And as I was doing show prep for one of the shows last week, the History Channel had World War II in color, which was amazing. And I loved it because not only you were able to see what was going on and the sadness that was going on, the history behind it, but there was one man in there. Wow. I've always been a fan of Churchill. I've always been a fan, if you're going through hell, keep going. But he literally got Hitler so angry. Hitler just said, I'm just going to Russia. That's basically what he did. What Churchill did, Hitler knew that there were certain patterns to war. He became ignorant to the fact of that, and that basically was his downfall. What Churchill did, and what we should do, and use that like a metaphor in our life, is to understand our history, because our history is not our past, but our patterns. And what Churchill did was astounding. And as he's getting bombarded in England constantly, day and night, he started changing the patterns of where to put things. And the Luftwaffe started going down in flames. And Hitler couldn't understand. He said, wait, he's supposed to just be annihilated like every other country that he went through. But Churchill was amazing because every battle he lost and or won, he analyzed what he did. He analyzed the patterns. And he knew that he knew his opponent, and hence the art of war. He knew his opponent, therefore got Hitler so enraged that he couldn't conquer Britain because Churchill was outnumbered basically 8-1 in every facet, armor, men, the whole 9 yards. But Hitler couldn't get to him. He wouldn't let him go. Finally, he got so upset with him, he turned his back on England and gave the Allies some time to go in there. Basically, he just went over to Russia instead, put his emphasis on that. And when you think about our lives, like I said, your history is not your past, but your patterns. When you figure out your patterns, your thought patterns, you realize your life patterns. And to me, that was a game changer for me. I was talking to a coworker today, and she's on her journey, and she lost all this weight. I just read about it today. I was like, I didn't even know about it. I was like, good for you. All she did was change the pattern. And, all the deceased notables, inventors, these guys know when they so-called fail, analyze it, and create a new pattern to go forward. What do you think?
Well, I think there's some truth to that, but I don't think there's any true known sciences. When it comes to people, metabolisms, it's just a big thing. It's a big thing. And then you draw on history, you can bring parts of the puzzle forward. And some things are going to work for some people, and some things are not going to work for other people.
Yeah, our uniqueness, indeed.
Yeah. And
it's just a matter of analyzing. I think Will Smith said it best. He goes, when I know the patterns, I'll know if I'm going to be able to succeed at it. And that's just his mental state about it. And the war is won in the mind before anywhere, in life itself. And people have to understand that. And most people are living by their past instead of learning from it.
Right.
Our history is not our destiny. And a lot of people grasp it as, this is their lot in life. And I bring this up a lot on my show. And hopefully your audience can understand it for themselves. is that, yeah, things happen to us, but are gone through us that are attracted to us. And to me, like I mentioned at the beginning about working, I've worked the same since, we had our friend anniversary. It made me thinking. I saw it on Facebook. I didn't want to post it.
Oh
I feel like
my.
a schlep. But yes, almost 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and you saw the old year evolve into basically the new year, but still doing all the same physical work, but the mentality is completely transformed and different. And look what it has brought to me in the most beautiful ways, and I hope to share it on mass scale.
Well, yeah, we've evolved. We've
Yes.
continued to grow and we've evolved and we're evolving going forward. So 17 years and we've known each other longer than that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But most importantly, people fail to recognize
Right.
the patterns, the thought patterns that are bringing to them what is going on in their life. And to me, that was a game changer. I was able to recognize, who said this? I got a quote here from Churchill: "Those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it." Indeed, because we're so in the moment of trying to create something that we're hitting the brick wall, thinking that we can pound our way through it. You don't have to. You go right around it. You just got to figure out how to get around it through the so-called failures in your life. And when you realize that, you'll start understanding better. You start making more accomplishments. So small steps, which always lead to big rewards.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, Hitler had history right in front of him, going into Russia and trying to march into Russia in the wintertime. I thought Napoleon taught Adolf about
Yeah, Napoleon. Yeah, and you think exactly. He didn't do his research. He didn't do his research. Even with Germany, with 5 million people, 5 million souls that were lost during that time, Russia had 14 million souls. And I'm not laughing. I feel
it.
terrible
No,
about that.
absolutely.
But Russia outnumbered Germany, and all they did was just keep sending in more souls as a barrier. And finally, it just overcame the troops in there as well. He won it the old-fashioned way. We kind of have to do that with ourselves. We kind of have to understand that, yeah, indeed, if you're going through hell, to keep going. And it's not just perseverance, but understanding how you're thinking. And very few people do that. So that's the hardest thing for people to realize and do is what brought about their situation now. It's like me. I ask myself that question every day. What brought this to Meatball? And you ask better questions, you're going to get better answers, and that has helped me profoundly. And what I've created so far, because every day, like you said, we're evolving. You and I recognize that, and we learn from that, and we take advantage of it because we're always asking better questions. You with your mirror technique, me with the journaling. We're always, edifying and doing different things in our life to bring us to that next level. People realize that. I mean, there's no obstacles except for yourself.
Well, and we're willing to share what we believe and why we
Big,
believe it. And a lot of
big,
people
yeah,
aren't.
big. Go ahead. Yeah, big
Well,
point. Great point.
we're not asking you to join our special club, get in our super chat. We're just sharing it. We're driven to share what we believe. And
You know, go ahead.
no,
Bring up a great point. Go ahead.
but that's
Finish.
it. No, I'm confused. But I'm
No,
not
you bring up a fantastic point. Fantastic point. Good.
I'm not used to you being able to hear me, so I could just say anything with no response, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, here come those apparatus insults. I hear. I mean, I hear everything now. It's starting to scare me. I'm getting like paranoid. I'm getting the twitches over here. But you bring up a great point about that because our beliefs are our beliefs.
Right.
Ask any politician now. They're going to say, what are you talking about? They want the masses to believe in them. And you and I can dive into that and really start a whole, firestorm on the internet about politics. But, people, it's a great point. Our beliefs are our beliefs, just as yours and everybody else's. What you believe in is what you bring in. So until you master that, that muscle between your left and right ear and condition it and transform it the way you want it to go, because our mind doesn't control us, it's just waiting to take commands from us. Our body's the same way. Whatever you say about your body, you're bringing to your body. So why not say, thank you for being so good to me? Thank you for, this is what I'm saying. Every syllable, it's like planting a mental seed. The same thing with success. You got to be successful in mind before you are in life. And that was a pivotal point for me to realize that aspect. And it's all a mental mindset, and how you carry that mindset, how you amplify it, and how you learn from it is where you grow from it.
Well, and what we've said many times, and we did talk about beliefs last week, but what we've said many times is not only do you need something to believe in, but you must constantly assess
Oh, yeah.
what your beliefs are. Because if your primary focus in life is hunting for Bigfoot, and that's your primary belief that you're going to catch Bigfoot, I'm afraid you'll be in for a very big disappointment.
No,
What?
no, because if you're looking for Bigfoot, you can find any Bigfoot. Literally, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can go from a 9.5 to a 14. your Shaquille O'Neal could be standing in front of you. There's your Bigfoot. But yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. The belief system, to me, is the core of our substance in
Right.
life. It's everything. It's everything that we bring to us, we attract to us, we deter from us. You work on your belief system, and that's, you summed it up for me. It was changing my belief about myself and
Right.
recognizing it, amplifying it, constantly evolving from it, and moving forward with it. So people, it's not hard. It's really not, but it takes due diligence on your part, because if your life isn't the way you thought it would be, it's because obviously, like I always say, it's the way you thought it would be.
Right.
And to me, still working the same amount of hours, if not more, and still doing the same routine as far as physical work in my life, because I love it. It's like getting paid to exercise, man. At my age, I love it. But on the mental part of me, it changed my physical world. I mean, 1,000 times over. And it's like the third power better off. And that I watched that evolve slowly. People can do that for themselves with their physical body, with dieting and so forth. They can watch themselves evolve slowly. But the mentality that you carry every day is probably the most important feature that everybody should be working on, because that's your starting point of creation. Some will believe that. I believe it. You believe it. Some people may not believe it, which is fine. They might realize, reflect on the outside world. I get that. That's your belief system. However way it works to get you where you want to go is your way to where you want to go.
No, absolutely. And talking about history, this is our chance to make our new history going forward.
Oh God, every day is, yeah.
Yeah.
Every day is a new beginning. I mean, granted, we have a routine, but I try to keep that routine as constructive instead of destructive.
Right. Right.
You don't want to get in that pattern, destructive patterns in life where you become complacent. Um, but to me, you'll never come complacent with a passion. Like you and I. I
Right.
mean, we'll have one hand out of the coffin, still doing our writing and work. It's just our passion. We love to create. I hope everybody finds that with whatever they're doing in their life, because that's our driving force. We didn't come here to work 9 to 5, a way to make a living, Dolly Parton, yada, yada, yada. We came here to create and experience from that creation. However way you're creating is what you're experiencing.
Well, Jerry, you don't hear that phrase very often. Dolly
But I
Parton, yada, yada, yada.
it was like Dolly Jerry Seinfeld 101. It kind of goes both ways. How did I mix those two together? I have no idea. Just,
Well,
you bring out the meatball and then meatball.
you went to 9 to 5, and then that brought up Dolly Parton, and then you
I
said
went to the
yeah
80s to the 90s in a newsflash.
to yada yada yada. But that's good. We can always talk about foundations, and part of our current foundation is believing in ourselves,
God, yeah.
and that was built on reflecting on our history.
I didn't fail 1,000 times. A light bulb was invented with 1,000 steps. I had to share that. Imagine if people, would got mad like Edison and just, this doesn't work. I'm leaving. We'd be sitting in the dark with candles, man. But I will challenge that with Nikola Tesla, even though he was kind of helping them in the process. But nobody says that. But I mean, it's not just the perseverance. Indeed, it's the belief that the outside world knows. They knows it with deception, with distractions. They know the media. They know that if they can cut down your belief system, put you in a fear mode about life in general, you're not going to be able to focus on yourself.
Right.
They're there to lure us in. We're called programming. Or television. They're telling a vision every day about what they want to bring to us or indoctrinate to us. People have to get past that. They gotta. You don't have to turn off the television, but you can turn off. You can change the channel on what you're seeing. It's like changing your reflection in a mirror. You change what you're seeing on the outside world, you start changing what you're bringing in. And the belief system is totally shaped. But from the minute we're still in the belly, is what they're proving now, that our belief system starts within mom. It starts as, the last trimester, starting to hear things and, feel the tension, the kind of stress and stuff like that. And then it builds on to age 7. You start getting into that theta state every day of absorbing the right things in your life. You're going to change your whole paradigm of thinking.
Well, paradigm and, use a simple word like I do, perspective.
Yeah, perspective is right. Theory, perspective, injective, selective. We can start rapping right here. But God, I hope this opens up a little bit of a window. I love throwing breadcrumbs at people to attract them to the information like this, because they basically change the channel. Coming to Americans Talkin, American Perspective, my America's Mentor. I mean, they're watching something different, and I love that because they're watching a different perspective. Maybe they get some new insight, and that's exactly what we're talking about. It's taking a right turn instead of a left turn. Instead of going straight, they're going backwards. However direction they do, they're just taking different perspectives, absorbing it, making their own decisions with their beliefs, and moving forward.
Well, we should use clickbait like world's best meatball recipe.
That drives me knuckles fudge. Freaking clickbait. I mean, they put this, they put the caps on with these headlines. I've learned finally after all these years. Don't click on it because it goes into the algo, right? And
Right.
you start seeing all the ads for it. It
Right,
goes on your
right.
feed.
Well, yeah.
They're not stupid.
Yeah, you watch something moronic, you'll find more moronic stuff in your feed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
you'll be identified by the algorithm as a moron.
Man, you and I try to jack in each algo every day to try to go on that trending path, and it's happening for us, in small ways. People got to do it for their own personal, because that's your mindset shown in pictures. And people got to realize that. Oh, where did this ad come from? Because you clicked on something else there before, Meatball. Then you got infected with malware, and now you got to make sure that you start clicking on and start viewing only what you like, because we are being watched 24/7.
Well,
AI is happy. AI is happy. It's saying, I'm going to watch you night and day, and whatever you touch with that little finger is going to be growing like a poison ivy. You got to make sure you be careful.
I've gone into AI and said, "Hey, tell me about these yahoos that are doing this Meatball Perspective show," and it's frightening. I mean, it's frightening the answers that come out of it.
Well, there should be a lot more. I mean, podcasts are, people getting into the sciences and thinking, and it's everywhere. And I love it, because you click on one and you start getting them all. And they're all saying the same thing, like myself and you're just a different way. And the uniqueness of an individual to absorb it is great, because it's all in a different way. However they click on it, it's going to help them in their own way. So by having this in mass, like what you and I do, and what thousands or maybe even millions others do, is just the revolution of what we were taught. It's just the direct opposite. And I love it, because it's going to teach people a new mindset. It's going to help people understand themselves better, therefore reflect better, therefore attract better.
Well, absolutely. And if if you find yourself here, you got to tolerate some laughing.
Yeah, some kind of dull humor from a couple middle-aged men.
Middle aged. Well, you might be
Yeah,
middle
we're
aged.
getting there. We're
You
getting there. We're
you
getting
might
there.
be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the apparatus is helping now. I can hear better at my middle age. Good show, man. Good show.
Well, yeah, Jerry, I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad it's working for you, and I'm glad you finally took some days off for yourself.
Yeah. I can hear the birds again, man. That's all that kind of really matters in life.
All
Hearing the
right.
birds and bees.
All right, Jerry, we're going to celebrate your hearing aids, and everybody, this has been Justin Case and Jerry Maldonado bringing you Meatball Perspectives on Americans Talkin. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links provided in this video is read more. Today's the day to subscribe to this channel. Please learn more about Jerry Maldonado when time permits.